I just wanted to say today, I've been thinking long and hard what we can learn from this whole story about, I've been trying to figure out, sketching, observing people, you see family and they're sitting around, and this whole issue came up with, what can you really know about people? You think you know people and you observe families, and then you come to realize that actually a lot of people live poster lives, which are like a facade, like not real, in order to please society, and they're not really being themselves because it's so important for them to somehow fit in some sort of a role for whatever reason. And then one day it all breaks down, and it can break down in different ways. There's never a justification for violence, but I think it's the exception that things work out. I am an optimist, but I think families are very complicated because you take different people and you put them together and you get something. It's a new creation, and there's a lot of dynamics going on. And in the case of Shanann, there was this woman who had a dream of having a family, and she maybe was not in touch with what's going on there, that she married an actor, that he was just pretending to have emotions. And it's very hard to spot them. It's not her fault at all in that way, but it should be a warning for a lot of young women out there not to get involved in a relationship with somebody, giving them a lot of power over you, in fact, by putting them on the pedestal. That empowers the man too much. And also, I don't know what to say, but there's subtle hints. I mean, a man doesn't just go off and have affairs with men and women, and you're just not in touch with it. So something's wrong there, because you live in a bubble of dreams, because you're such a good person and you have these ideals and you don't want to see. You're blind to the truth. And the truth is that we have to communicate to a person and pick up those subtle hints. And I think if we open our eyes, we can see. If we learn to observe human beings, we will learn a lot about what's going on underneath, from little things, little actions. And the problem is that it's a poster sort of life, and the social media makes it worse, because you've got all these pictures, these beautiful photos of happy children, and these are moments, but in between the photos there's a lot of dynamics and a lot of cross things going on. And when you look at it, children are quite irritating. They jump and they need a lot of things, and they're not, those pictures of happy families are poses. Most of the time children are not happy, smiling. And in order to deal with those moments, you need a lot of maturity and a lot of ability to tolerate it. And what happens is, when somebody just snaps and becomes violent, it's a process. And I think what happened in Shanann's case is rare. Most of the time, men just leave, or they have incidences of violence before. They don't just murder their wives. They are violent in little slow ways. And I think it's a lesson for women and men to be more in touch with the other side. And you can see, we're touched by social media. You know, look at this. Like, children are like given phones, and you're supposed to have family time, but you're sitting in a coffee shop where people are adults here. It's not a place for children, but they're not aware of it. Why are they not aware of it? Because they're not in touch with what's going on the other side. They're not thinking about what a child needs. And this is the same thing in a family. A man and a woman have to be in touch with what the other one needs and wants. And when you're not in touch with this is what happens. And it's horrible, because you can be such a giving, loving person like Shanann, like, who just wants to give the world love. And those children were such beautiful, amazing beings. But because she chose to be in a relationship with somebody who's secretive and not, he was like not being open, she was very open. And the fact that she was always on social media, if you're a lot on social media, that's a hint that there's something wrong with you. Because if you need to be with fake friends on Facebook, because real friends meet each other and are in touch with each other. But I mean, these days, even when you meet families, I mean, children have no rules. I mean, a child is sitting in a coffee shop and he's busy with his phone. And, you know, when I was a child, I was at least with the family for good. You know, children need to learn to be bored. That there are times where you just stare into space. I mean, Albert Einstein, I heard, spent a lot of time doing nothing but thinking, and that's how he got to his ideas. But what he said a long time ago is, this is another topic, I know, because I started to talk about Shanann, but I want to talk really about social media, I realized. Albert Einstein said that in the future, we will create a reality where there's going to be what did he say? Technical idiots, I believe it was the phrase. Idiots that are brilliant with technology, technological idiots. And this is the results. When I was teaching high school, the kids would sit there with the phones, and the principal was just happy that they were off the streets. And I wanted more. I wanted their attention when I was teaching, and they were sitting with the phones, busy with the phones. And I used to spend 50% of my time trying to get the phones away from these teenagers. And I realized it starts with this age. Look, this child, his brain has neurological paths. And when he's with the phone or when you're with the computer, that changes your neurological paths. You become a technological idiot. Your whole creativity, whole ability to think outside the box is stifled. I strongly believe in not giving the children any access to anything that has to do with screens. I made the mistake. In my time, it was TV, I admit. And I used to think, yeah, I mean, you needed some time away from the kids, and you put them in front of the screen to watch some TV show or video or at that time. But that's not good. When I was a child, we'd just get like pots and pans. My mother would give me like forks and spoons from the kitchen, and that, you know, I would watch ants for hours, or, you know, and then I discovered also drawing is something I love to do. And these days, children, you know, I think it's unbelievable the way they have iPhones at the age of like first grade. I mean, that's why I think I really want to teach kindergarten again, because I really want to go back to the age where they don't have iPhones, although I suspect at home they already have that going on. They put them in front of the computer. And the whole thing about social media is fake, phony. You don't have touch with real people. Because real people, when you're in touch with real people, you have dynamics, and it's not always nice. In social media, it's always nice, and if it's not nice, then you delete them. In life, you can't delete your family that easily, you know? Or actually, this is a horrible thing to say, I guess you can. If you're a murderer like that man, I won't mention his name, you can delete your family. This is what happened. Maybe that has to do with social media, where you think you can just delete people. I don't know where it comes from. It's a new sort of pathological dynamics where we're not really in touch with other people. It's definitely affecting our relationships. And my dream is to go somewhere where there's no phones, but then I would not be able to broadcast my thoughts. Social media, which I also do, so I'm a hypocrite. But I think I'm a little bit above it because I'm reflecting upon social media. I am in social media, but I'm reflecting and criticizing it. So it's a different level. I don't take it seriously. I actually don't have a Facebook account anymore except my yoga one. I don't have a regular Facebook account where you interact with other people. You can only like my page, Siegel Livingston. It's not my real name even, and I stopped posting things there. I'm busy more on YouTube, where I use it as a creative path, tool. Anyway, enough apologize for me, and I think we need to take a long, hard look at relationships after what happened to Shanann Watts, and we need to really think about what is a family, what are the dynamics with another person, and I do blame social media. This relationship started on social media. This relationship continued. She spent, I think, hours on social media with people because she didn't have a real person to interact with. Why are you talking on the phone to Facebook when your husband is there? You know, why are you not interacting with each other? Perhaps if you had interacted with each other, you would have discovered that you really have no relationship and your husband wants something else than you. And that's not her. I'm not blaming her in any way for his horrible choices. I mean, the man is clearly a person with a lot of mental illness, that he can do such a horrible thing to his children. Any act of violence is despicable. Any act of violence towards helpless beings is despicable, not to mention children. But I mean, look at this. This child is like, can hardly walk, and he has a phone in his hands. This is the education the children get, and then they go to school and they say the teachers aren't good, the school system is not good. But what kind of education do you give your child at home? Ask yourself. You want to keep the child busy, and they learn to interact with electrical gadgets, not with human beings. And then the relationships they have will be not very good ones. I'm not saying that I had great relationships with people before this social media era, but at least it was real. At least there were one human being with another. And I think we learned this from the dogs. Why do we have dogs? We learned that dogs don't have social medias. They are here, present. They're there for you at this moment, for good and for bad. So I want you to look at this image. And as school starts on Sunday, I won't be teaching school. I will be going maybe to kindergarten. I'm looking into different alternative education, which starts later after the high holidays. Hopefully I will get into a place where I can really make a difference in the lives of children and not receive children that have already been indoctrinated into this world. And take a look at this, if you're a parent, and ask yourself whether you're doing the same. And ask yourself, what do you expect your child to grow up to be? What you want your child to be? If this is how you treat them as children at the age where they need so much to learn tools of interacting with other human beings. So peace, light, and love. It's not easy to criticize other people, but